Mine doesn't do that. Can't try to do it.
Come in early next meeting and swap or something.
Can't even write on the road. It used to go down. Oh, I can't touch.
Yeah, I went to the
Problem is, things that were possible, I guess I'll just like, please don't even touch them.
Town of Evansville's council meeting for August 25th, 2025 at 7 p.m. has been called. May I get roll call?
Mayor Candace Machado.
Here.
Councilmember Deja Edwards.
Here.
Councilmember Greg Lustig.
Here.
Councilmember Alana Vino. Here. Councilmember Ernie Blackford.
Here.
Town Attorney Scott Murray.
Here.
Town Engineer Shane Porter.
Here.
Chief of Police Mike Thompson.
Here.
Fire Chief Leo Molson.
Here.
Town Clerk Janelle Underwood and Marissa Solis.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
All motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Line item 1, consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Line item A, approval of minutes for August 11th, 2025 regular meeting. Line item B, approval of business license, Mastercraft Construction. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Line item 2, public comments. Do we have any public comments? Sir, if you'd come up, state your name and your address, and we'll put 3 minutes on the clock for you.
My name is Jeremy Brown, 615 Toll Street. Excuse me if I read this fast, but I only have 3 minutes to speak my mind. Why is it that we only have 3 minutes speaking time and only one chance to speak during this entire meeting? We can't speak on multiple agendas right before council makes their decisions and vote. I keep hearing the word transparency being thrown around loosely since this mayor and council have taken office, but I've yet to see that. It's ironic and disgusting how the mayor feels she can go to other events and speak or have engagement for more than 3 minutes. Rules for thee, but not for me. That where she moves the goalposts and puts herself on the agenda so that she can speak for over 10 minutes. It seems like the No Kings protest she went to this summer had the opposite effect, and now we have a tyrant as the mayor. Also, I find it extremely comical how our mayor is utilizing the town attorneys and the town's police force at her own personal whim and for her own gain. She uses the town's attorney as her own lapdogs to clean up her messes when she blatantly violates our town ordinances, spits in the face of residents and in the faces of other council members. She also utilizes our police force as her own personal bodyguards because she claims that she's afraid, even with no valid threats to her life or safety. It's so extremely hilarious to me because I'm the only person who has received actual legitimate threats to my life and my safety. I have yet to walk in fear or uneasiness, though. I'm not a coward, and I walk my talk. What I also find amazing is how this council chooses not to engage with anybody who opposes their rule or speaks out against them. They just wait for the time limit to expire and for people to walk away from this podium. You should all take the time to watch Bar None's town hall meetings. They have like 10 people at each meeting that are far more contentious than I am, and yet Mayor Peter Boyle and Councilman Dallin Sabrowski still engage with them. I don't agree or disagree with Boyle or Sabrowski and their stances, but I do respect them for their engagement with their constituents. I commend them for that, and it's a shame that I cannot say that for this council. You don't deserve to be sitting in those seats. You're only there for the clout and the paycheck. And then also, I have a question for Ms. Councilwoman. How do you pronounce your last name?
You know?
Vino. Why did you think it was a good idea to post our community garden on the Casper Classifieds website last month?
It's a community page.
Right, but I'm saying for just Evansville though, right?
It's a park. Everyone gets to enjoy a park.
Like even though we're paying for it,
Everyone gets to enjoy a park.
like, so should we just change the name to Natrona County Community Garden then, or?
Didn't pick the name.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, like, should we just change it to open it to the whole county? Because I mean, even though us residents are paying for that, like, does that
Us
make sense?
residents are paying for every park in Evansville.
Right,
Everybody gets to enjoy it, not just Evansville.
okay. Well, I disagree with that.
Casper residents come and volunteer here. Evansville residents come and volunteer here. Community, county people come out and volunteer here. Everybody gets to enjoy it.
Right, and it's funny that you mentioned volunteering, because I actually volunteered to do the dog park, that was turned down, and it was denied, like, but I know that that wasn't per you, but I mean, I just think it's hilarious who we're picking and choosing, who can volunteer, and who can't. Like, is that how we're doing this these days, or, like, I can't show respect for my community? No answer?
Mr. Brown, this is what I'm going to say, and whether you choose to enjoy my answer or you don't, sir. I don't think that whatever choice and decision that I make as the mayor, I don't think that you're going to like it, whether it's the flags, whether it's community garden stuff, whether it's council people wanting to engage back and forth with you, whether it's donation of time, not donation of time. What I will tell you is that your behaviors, sir, have caused people to feel uncomfortable. Now, that's not a me thing. I have gotten plenty of emails, plenty of private messages, plenty of phone calls, and so have the staff, about your behaviors with the swastikas had made them uncomfortable. Now, with that being said, this isn't my word choice. That was conversations that were brought to my attention. That's not my words. I'm just sharing with you because you're asking me to engage with you. Now, when we're talking about you wanting to come and you wanting to put over a new leaf and move forward and start forward, I'm willing to do that with you. But continuing to come to the council and continuing to tell us that we're not doing this or we're not doing that. I've been on council, sir, for 5 years. I respected the council throughout the full 5 years. I respect the former mayor. I respected every choice and decision that he made, and I backed him completely. Did we always agree? No, but I respected him as the mayor with choices and decisions that he made, and I backed him. The community garden was put in place under his reign, and majority of the council that were on during that time, we had fully unanimously voted to put that through. So my challenge and my struggle with the community garden, with you wanting to come and volunteer your time and donate your time, sir, I've been a social worker for 18 years and I know a lot about human behavior and human development. And when you make a drastic play in the community with swastikas and you make people uncomfortable, but then on the other hand, you want to move forward and you would like for us to move forward, but then we continue to go back and forth, either if it's on social media or if it's during council meetings. How are we as a council supposed to know whether or not if your choices and your decisions are genuine and you really want to move forward? Because me personally, I'm completely moved forward. I'm moving on. I've moved forward with all of the things. And I would ask for you, because you and another person that's sitting in this room, you guys talk a lot about divisiveness and dividing the town and things like that. How are we supposed to move forward if every single council meeting or every other council meeting you are berating us and or telling us what we are not doing? Sir, I've been on this council for 5 years and I have just recently seen you come to our council meetings.
It's not a contest.
This is not a contest, sir. This is about respect. But if you really want us to move forward, then you have to stop picking apart each of us because you don't like a choice and a decision that we've made. And that's at least what I will tell you. If you really want to move forward, let's do this and let's move forward. You might not like me and you might not like my choices or decisions, or you might not like our council's choice and decisions, but you have to remember, sir, that we are all human beings sitting up here. And it also on the back end, it's not wonderful for us to have to sit up here and have you guys tell us what we should and should not be doing when I've barely seen most of you attend meetings in the last 5 years. I could go down an extreme list of where were the residents when we needed volunteers? Where were the residents to donate their time? I could go into a slew of lots of things over the
Right, so it's
5
a
years.
contest. It's a
Over the 5
contest.
years
to
that I haven't, no, it's not a contest for me, sir. You want me to engage with you in this back and forth altercation. I'm not doing it, therefore you don't like it. I'm saying things you don't like, but I'm asking you that if you want us to be respectful and engage with you, I would ask for you to stop trying to verbally attack our council because they won't engage with you. They have the right to not engage with you when you're constantly coming at us. And when
So I'm not allowed to voice discontent?
you can absolutely do that, sir, but what I would ask you is we need to move forward with solutions on how we work together. That's what I'm asking you. Let's move forward and work together because the same thing that you're saying now is also the same thing that I've heard you say every council meeting, and that's why I don't engage with you, sir, because there's nothing else that I feel like I need to say that I haven't already said. Whether you agree with it or you don't, it's completely fine if you don't agree with it. But the council, I've told the staff this as well. If you get a resident that calls here and they berate you on the phone and they yell and scream at you in the phone, you are more than welcome to disengage that conversation because the staff is also human beings that have feelings. And they don't need to have people coming at them, yelling and screaming at them either. It's the same thing with council. Every single person on this board, they're their own person. I'm not telling anybody how to speak to the residents, what to say, what to do, what not to do, what not to say. You can ask each of them down the line, have I ever told them what they can do and what they can say? There is no conversation that's ever been had between me and these folks on me telling them, you can't speak to Mr. Brown. I've never said
You
that.
said that at that meeting when I tried to talk to her, like at the very first.
Because I felt, sir, like you were trying to bait her into a conversation.
No, I just want real human interaction.
But-
My time is up. Thank you.
Thank you for coming, sir, and I've been fully engaged with you. Mr. Perry, please come on up, state your name, state your address.
Brian Perry,
We'll put 3 minutes
344
on the
Kirk.
clock.
So what about the people you made uncomfortable with your pride flags?
All of that's already been handled, sir, and I am moving forward.
You made the citizens of this town uncomfortable. And you're talking about him putting swastikas down. You made it uncomfortable too. So you haven't apologized.
And I will
But
not be.
Queen Candace, I'm rise today to make it clear that your conduct, your decisions, and your blatant disregard for this community can no longer be ignored. Is it true you said you're a progressive feminist?
Yeah, that's pretty much a public statement. I'm also a social worker and an activist.
This
and a
goes in,
council
hold on,
member.
hold on. That's all I asked.
You asked
Was
me
you
a question and
progressive
I'm
feminist?
answering.
You said, okay. Is that why you continuously put party over people you're elected to serve? Is it true that you labeled our own House District Representative Kevin Campbell a so-called Freedom Caucus member and then flat out refused to work with him?
I did not flat out use to work with him, but something that you were bringing up, I'm not gonna speak for Representative Campbell.
Why did you not even respond when Representative Campbell reached out to meet with you and bring real economic development opportunities into this town?
Are you asking me to answer or are you going to cut me off again?
Well, I'm just allowing you to answer, but I'm not gonna let you filibuster my time.
Wonderful. I would support that.
So why didn't you respond to the last email when he asked to come meet with you about bringing the hydrogen processing plant here?
I'll let you ask all your questions and then I'll answer
Okay,
after your
so
3
why
minutes.
did you shut the door on the hydrogen processing plant, refusing to allow their spokesperson to come before council, explain their business, inform the public, and let us vote on whether they should do business here? Instead of engaging, you chose politics over progress, arrogance over transparency. And perhaps most shamefully, will you apologize to the residents of this town for your extremely embarrassing and downright disgraceful behavior at the WAN conference?
Is that your final question, sir?
No, I got more.
Okay.
Behavior that has been corroborated by numerous eyewitnesses. Your actions show incompetence, closed-mindedness, and a complete inability to lead. For that reason, I am calling you to resign immediately. And if you refuse, I am calling on the majority of this body to stand with me and not allow quorum for our next meetings until she does. Enough is enough. This town's sick of it. Sick of it. This town deserves leadership, not theatrics, respect for the people, not contempt, progress, not political games. You can answer my questions now.
So I'm gonna be clear and direct with you, and we're not gonna get into a back and forth battle, because I know that that's what you're looking for, and I'm not going there.
I want the answers to my questions.
Okay, so in terms of the interaction between Representative Campbell and I'm not going to speak on that because Representative Campbell is not sitting here, and I'm not going to speak on behalf of the situation that had occurred where there were multiple witnesses and multiple reports that were made with state officials in regards to that situation.
Why did you CC
Will you-
Eric Barlow, who's a
Will you
Campbell
let
County resident?
I will wait until you stop.
That is so embarrassing, that
So,
you're CCing people that have no
Sir.
say, no interaction in this conversation. You're involving them in something that doesn't involve.
sir, I am not going to speak on an interaction that had occurred with Representative Camden
Well, I'm
County.
gonna tell you right now,
Will you
that
let
I
me
put the
finish?
emails on
Okay,
Facebook
then I'm done speaking.
so everybody knows what happened between you and Kevin Campbell. It's already exposed on Facebook.
That's fine. I have nothing to
So
hide.
there's, we already know what the dialogue, he doesn't need to be here, but if he needs to be here, we can come back.
I will not speak in regards to Representative Campbell.
I know, because you wanted to do economic development. You turned it down, but you're at Hageman's meeting saying,
So your 3 minutes is done.
economic development. You're
Thank you,
fake,
sir.
Candace, you're fake.
Would anybody else like to come up for public comments? Public comments. Public comments are closed.
You've been exposed.
All right, line item 3, ratification of bid award for 2 2025 Ford Police Interceptors to Young Auto Mall.
Madam Mayor, Council, at the last council meeting, a motion was made by Alana Dino and seconded by Bernie Blackford to award the bid for 2 2025 units, patrol units that are available now for build. And the motion was made and seconded, but there was not a roll call for. And so I would just ask for ratification to the award of the bid for the 2025 patrol unit interceptors.
Do I have a motion for ratification of the bid for the 2 2025 Ford Police Interceptors?
I'll motion.
Do I have a second? I'll second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion passes. Line item 4, authorization for mayor to execute a contract for transportation services with the city of Casper.
Madam Mayor and Council, brought before you tonight is the contract for transportation services. This is for the bus that runs into town of Evansville. This contract has been presented to Town Attorney Aaliyah Scott, and she has been working with City of Casper's attorney as well on it, and they have approved the agreement and recommend authorization for the mayor to execute.
Is there a motion for authorization for the mayor to execute contract for transportation services with the city of Casper?
I so move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Line item 5, authorization for mayor to execute federal award for Lathrop Road Amendment 1 to Agreement 71130.
Madam Mayor and Council, brought before you tonight is Amendment 1 to the agreement of 71130. This is an amendment to the Wyoming Department of Transportation to construct or reconstruct, or I'm sorry, do a study for the reconstruct of Lathrop Road. It was brought before you last August and approved, and at that time, the anticipated cost for the consulting of the design of that roadway was $20,000 and some change. The town of Evansville's portion of that cost is 9.51%, which was $2,111. YDOT did not estimate that dollar amount high enough, and it came in at $36,000. And so again, the town's portion would be 9.51%, so there would be a difference of $1,331. So the Wyoming Department of Transportation is asking for the mayor to execute this agreement. And I don't know if you have any more.
Not really. I mean, it's not for design, but it's for its reconnaissance study is what they call it. And it's the first step. We've got some funds allocated to reconstruct Lathrop Road, but those funds are administered through YDOT. And so YDOT kind of takes charge of the project, and their first step is to do a reconnaissance study, and that's what this is for. They did the original contract in August, but they underestimated what, they hired the consultant and underestimated what that consultant was gonna be. So this is an amendment to revise that price to what the consultant actually ended up costing, and our cost is 9.51%.
Do I have a motion to approve the authorization for mayor to execute federal award for Lathrop Road Amendment 1 to Agreement 71130?
I so move.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Line item 6, engineers report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. So, Mayor McFarland asked me to come in tonight to talk about an issue that one of the residents has been bringing up at council meetings. I have trouble with my printer, so I only have a couple of color versions. I'll spread them out. You guys can maybe share the color versions. I'll just try to kind of explain what we're looking at. So this is, Mr. Williams has been coming to council meetings for a while and talking about the drainage along Blackmore Road. And Robert and I have looked at it several times. It's been kind of hard to, it's really hard to kind of go out there and visualize exactly what could or couldn't be done to try to improve those drainage. So we sent the survey crews out there and got a good topographic survey of what's going on in that drainage ditch. And what we found is kind of what I thought I'd see, but we do think we could do some ditch. We can deepen the ditch and define the ditch better in the first about 300 feet. It's kind of, you can kind of see it on that profile on the first page. There's a high spot between two culverts. And it looks like we can take that high spot down and get better drainage between those first two culverts. But then between the next two down, it pretty well flows from culvert to culvert. There's not a lot we can do. We try to deepen that. We'd have to adjust the culvert elevation too. And by the time we get downstream, we're going to be too deep to get into the pond that we need to get in. So there's not a lot we can do past the first approach from what our survey's telling us. And I don't think, like I said, I think we can make some improvements in the first 300 feet. I don't think it's going to totally solve the issue at all. I really don't. It's going to help on certain runoff events. What the overall, bigger issue is the amount of water that's coming across I-25 from Casper into, there's kind of a pond up at the end of Reserve Drive that overflows that pond, comes down Reserve Drive and then down. And we see the big issues on those big high intense storms that we see 2-3 times a year. But it's just, it's the overall issue is upstream to really take care of the problem. And that would be a major project to do that. I mean, it could be $1 million project to convey that water properly through this area. So I think this will potentially provide some benefit, but won't solve the problem. Looking at it too, I mean, I think this is something we could do, but I think it's probably beyond the expertise of Robert and his guys to go in and work on this ditch. Robert had kind of tried to make some improvements, but I think it would take, hiring a contractor, giving them some good grade stakes and getting that ditch kind of taken care of. We do have to address a culvert at the very end that's kind of sloughed off in the pond. So we do have to address that culvert also. So we could do that with the contractor, but I think it's still a pretty simple project for a contractor, probably 2 or 3 days worth of work. So I don't really have a cost on it. Whatever you guys would like me to do, I can get a cost from a contractor to try to do some of this work. But again, it won't solve the problem. It hopefully will provide some benefit, but it won't work.
If it doesn't solve the problem and we went ahead and went this direction, if it's only a temporary fix, how long would the temporary fix be for?
Well, it's not really temporary. I mean, it's a fix, but it just depends on the amount of rain we get. I mean, in a high intense storm, it's still going to come across reserve. and blow through this whole area and across Blackmore Road and down into Elkhorn Creek, you know, along where Mr. Williams' property is. But it can help on certain storms. It can provide some benefit, or maybe, you know, I don't know what the limit is. We haven't done a drainage study on it, but there may be a limit where it'll provide some benefit up to a certain amount of runoff. But there will be a point in the runoff to be contained within this ditch.
And this would be.
It's a long story too, on the background of how the Evansville became involved in this, and get into it a little bit. I mean, this subdivision was originally designed and built in the county, and then the town annexed shortly after it was built, and so kind of inherited a problem that the town didn't know when it was annexed. I mean, it became a problem after annexation, and has been a problem ever since. So, and you know, we go and Mr. Williams can testify. I mean, it can go 3 or 4 years and not have any issue, or we don't have those high intense storms. We had one earlier this year, but I think it was 3 or 4 years since the last one. But you can also have 3 or 4 back to back. I mean, that's just the way they are. I mean, it's never when it comes, mostly the July, August ones.
Any additional questions?
Do you think that any of the natural foliage that grows up impedes the water flow in any way? Because that was a question that was asked to me, and
Well, yeah, it might. There is quite a bit of vegetation in there. I think the Robert has mowed it occasionally. It might help to mow some more. I mean, you know, when we open that ditch up and recreate it, we're gonna have to seed it, and in that interim between when we disturb it and it's seeded, it'll have a higher potential for erosion. But we'll have to get it seeded back. And vegetation is beneficial to help with erosion, but if it's too tall, it can also restrict the flow.
do you think it's better to seed it instead of, I know that some places in some areas will concrete those.
Well, you
Just a
could,
little, you know what I mean? I mean, it's a higher cost, I know, but.
Yeah, it's much higher cost. And actually, I say that, I mean, on the back sheet, if you wanted to, where I say we can't provide much benefit downstream, that's with an earthen ditch. I mean, if you went in there and created a big rectangular channel with concrete, you could provide some additional benefit, but the costs on that are substantially more.
Any additional questions? Thoughts?
Yeah, I had an opportunity to ride with Public Works Director at the time, and he resonates pretty much what you say on this. So going forward, maybe the first step was to take the earthen material, 1.5 to 2 inches down.
Feet on the first section, which is
Feet.
1.5 inches. Yeah.
Okay, the fine print.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's what Carroll Reservoir number 2 is the one you're talking about. So, all right. So, yeah, there's a lot of, I can imagine some overflow. I was able to walk around up there and take a look, see what it really looks like. So, yeah, going forward, yeah, got 1 to 2 feet of fill and get that much taken care of.
Any other thoughts?
So a lot of that is that, I mean, when I stopped and looked at it, it looked like it was runoff from Food for Thought. It's just their base, like they put in their parking lot, and it looks like a ton of their base has come down over that with drainage or whatever else.
They're probably,
Obviously, we're not down and digging, but just what it does look like right there.
probably has some of that, but there's a lot of it across the street here, and Robert's explained is when they plow snow,
Right, yeah,
they
that's,
shove a lot of that gravel out across there. And
Yeah.
clean some of that.
well, that's where I was like, I think that a lot of it down and out and across, but where it's coming down into that ditch is out of that. If you're looking at it and checking out the dirt, it's that same material that's up in their parking lot that has come down and in.
Should probably have it, so.
So I guess my question is we would have to get, that would have to go out like for bid? Is that what?
I don't think we'd have to go out for bid, because it would be under the $75,000 threshold. It'd be well under that, so I think we can go get some estimates, just go talk to a couple contractors.
So the first step would be to get the estimates, and then you'd bring the estimates back to council, and then we would determine what we would do moving forward.
Yes.
everybody okay with Engineer Porter giving some estimates?
I think it's important to be aware of the overall problem upstream, but, you know, it's hard to prioritize all the projects we have, but that is a project that should be on the list, but it's funding for storm sewers is nearly impossible.
It looks to me like we're pretty much limited when we get on the lower end of that. I mean, that flattens out, there's no place for it to go. And I think that's part of his problem, is because he's right there where it flattens out, and it just overflows on, I don't know what we can do about that.
I think, you know, we've got to do some work on this pipe at the bottom end, but what it does, it comes down and gets collected in that pipe and then into a kind of a dual detention pond system. And then it's supposed to be slowed down there, and then it goes out across the, you know, used to be Lathrop equipment. It goes adjacent to their, kind of their west property line, and then out into, it really just goes down to the White House right away. There is no system even downstream of there to take care of it. But I think maybe, you know, we can get more of it into that pond and away from him on some of these, you know, the really high intense storms. And it's just what it is, and it's that way all over town and all over Casper for that matter. On those big storms, the storm sewer system is just not able to take it.
I make a motion to, have the town engineer solicit, bid work.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
I,
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Porter, do you have anything else?
Nope, that's all I have, unless you have any questions. Anything else?
There was another resident, because I know that Director Malone is not here tonight, he's out sick, but there was another resident who came, Mr. Behrens. He had come, have we found out any additional information in regards to whether or not if that was a civil matter, or whether or not if we can assist on our end, that is a town issue, or is it a civil issue? Have we got any information on that in regards to that moving forward?
I don't have a definitive answer on
Okay.
that right now, no. If we get something together to present by the next council meeting, no.
We just haven't seen Mr. Behrens here since the last meeting he came, and I wanted to follow up on that.
And just so council's aware, I have reached out to the property owner where that runoff is coming off his lot. I've reached out to him 3 different times, on the actual town there I've got, and haven't got a call back and get close to him. But I'd like to meet with that property owner and just talk about, you know, the impacts of the town when it comes into the street is kind of, we gotta deal with that. So I'm trying to talk to that property owner, but I haven't been able to.
There's a tarp, a placard has a phone number on it. If you could like on your way home, if you could drive that way, that's got, I don't know if it's that, there's a banner up that has a phone
Yeah, I
number.
can go look at it, see if it's a different number than what you have found for me.
Chief, did you have something?
A little bit of input. So, 2 Fridays ago, the owner of the property was trying to go in and dig dirt. So there's the residents' property line, and then there's a space between their fence and Lathrop or Northrop's. And they were trying to go in. So one of the officers got summoned over there because they got called in since they didn't do the one call dig. And after that resident said, hey, I just called the cops, they loaded their equipment up, left, as I understand. And on the back end of that property, they did some sort of ditch work with rock of some sort in there. I don't know if you've seen that or not.
Is that recent?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty
I
recent.
haven't seen the recent.
Okay, probably within the last 3 weeks.
Is Mr. Behrens aware that where the rock, have you spoken to him or?
Yeah, he got ahold of me initially, was when I was in another state. And I said, thanks for letting me know, call one of my officers. So,
And I guess just in addition to that, I mean, if the council, you know, wishes, we have looked into, City of Casper has adopted an ordinance to address erosion control. It's specific to their MS4 program, which is their stormwater permit program that they have through the DEQ. But there's a lot of that ordinance that I think we could utilize to address, you know, kind of have some enforcement action. Scott has reviewed the ordinance, I passed it to him, but there is some things in there that I think we could utilize to give give some, like, I guess some enforcement on issues like that. We do, anytime there's a construction project, they're required to do a DEQ, erosion control permit. But what we found out is that, this isn't a construction project and it doesn't fall under the same thing, so it's a little bit different. But we can look at that ordinance if council wishes. It's out there and it's available and it's something you guys can discuss. To whether it's this issue or something down the road, you have some enforcement action on runoff from a site. Like anything else on that?
Because currently we don't have an ordinance in place from, at least my conversations, you correct me if I'm wrong, but we don't have an ordinance currently in place that talks about runoffs. Like with what the situation is, we're dealing with Mr. Barron's situation. And in terms of properties in Evansville that would potentially be in the same boat that Mr. Barron's is in, would there be several other properties that would be faced with that same runoff situation that he is currently faced with?
I don't think it's a real common issue, but there probably is a situation where it could also occur. There's probably, these lots here, it is gravel lots with a lot of open space. These lots here have some runoff that carry pollutants into the stormwater system or into the street. The town has to address like pollutants. That's how DEQ defines dirt. Soil that gets ran off in solution is considered a pollutant.
So to weigh in on that particular area of town, there's 2 residents that are affected by that particular property, but outside of that area, so like over on Evans Street, when we have those big storms engineers talking about, there's quite a bit of runoff that brings gravel and rock onto Evans, off the side streets and some lots that are over here because of the slopes and stuff over here that we see quite a bit of that. And although there's erosion control in place, but dirt work out of the Mason project, I suspect somewhere down the road, we'll start seeing runoff issues. So that there are other places in town besides just.
Would that, that ordinance that you guys were talking about, would that help with any of the food bank, W base or J base coming down into that as well, or no?
It potentially could, yeah.
That might be a way to address.
Because I know that the Mesa area, obviously we're not there, it's not finished yet, but I know that we've had that discussion about whether or not that's going to pose some legitimate concerns later down the line. So if we have the ordinance put in place, then we would be getting ahead of this for some of those future areas.
I think it's worth looking at, maybe.
Okay. Great. Any other thoughts? Sir?
Nope.
Do I have a motion to approve the engineer's report?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Who seconded? Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Line item 7, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:37 PM?
Motion.
Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Adjournment at 7:37 PM.